Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm from OTM Rentals. We're going to be talking about timecode today and how you can synchronize your slates, your shot log, and your cameras all together into a single timecode source. We're going to be using three devices today to demonstrate timecode. One is an iPad 3 and it's running an application called Movie Slate. There's a Denicky TL3 digital slate, and then there's an SP3 time source. And we're going to show you how you synchronize all of these devices together. One thing you may want to do, just because it helps establish what the date of the shot was, is to use what are known as user bits. So if you notice, I just slid to the left on the time readout and the user bits show up. If you want to set it, you just tap it again. And you can set it to month, day, year. So you can do month, day, year, day, month, year. And so I'll just leave it at year, month, day for now. And you hit done. And then you slide it back, and then that's the timecode again. So we're going to synchronize first to this Denicky Movie Slate device, and you just go out of the headphone jack, out of the top of the iPad, and you just plug in. And then the Movie Slate has an optional application you can get that will actually send out timecode as well as just displaying it. So in order to synchronize the devices, we're going to use a LTC, or they call LTC, or longitudinal timecode thing. It's an audio signal that comes out of the iPad and will synchronize these two devices. So to enable that, you touch the timecode again and it will bring up this dialog, and then you press the sync, and then you want to send from this device the timecode. So you press send, and then you're going to use the headphone jack. And so now, I'll unplug this for a minute, you can hear what it sounds like. Sounds pretty crazy, but that's the digital information going out by audio. So we're going to synchronize the digital slate, and what I'm using is a 1/8 inch cable to a 1/4 inch cable, because that's what the Denicky takes. Just plug it in the side here, and then turn it on. And as part of it starting up, it's going to synchronize. Okay, so you can see the time. And then when I close the clapper, it will show the time for just a moment, and we'll return to sync. So once you've synchronized it, you can remove the cable, and the digital slate will free run. It has a very stable clock inside. It's a temperature-controlled crystal oscillator clock, and it's pretty stable. It won't lose but about a frame over a day at the most. But I usually try to take time between takes to resync periodically every couple hours or whatever. And that helps make sure that it stays absolutely frame accurate during the day. In order to change the settings, like if you want to change the frame rate or change the batteries, there's a slate, a little door on the side here that you can slide, and that'll expose the batteries, and there are 6 AA's in there. Just slide it in there. It can only go one way, so if it doesn't push in cleanly, then you know it's not in there. And then there's a rotary switch that Denicky's famous for setting the frame rate. And there's a panel on the back that has a graphic on it that shows you what the different frame rates are. Set that before you power up. If you need to change it during the day, power it down, change it, and then power it up again. And just slide this door closed, and then you're good to go. So if you ever do need to resynchronize, as I said, just plug in, power cycle it, and off you go. If it doesn't jam sync, then you'll get whatever the frame rate is. So if you ever see something like code 24, that means you're running 24 frames per second. That's telling you that it didn't jam sync. But if it did, then it'll come up and it'll show you the time of day. Sometimes you think it's off, it's not, but if you look in the center here, there's a small LED that keeps flashing. That lets you know that it's still running. And then when you open it up, that'll show you what's going on. There's your time code again, or user bits. We have special markers you can use that are dry erase markers. Don't use anything else, please. Just use that, and we have a little thing you can clean it off with during the day. So anyway, that's this device. This other device is if you want to synchronize your cameras and your audio source. This is a Denicky SP3 box, and in order to turn it on, you slide this door open. It takes 2 AA's, and also the same Denicky rotary switch here you can see, and the frame rates are here as well as your word clock rates. Usually the word clock is 48 kilohertz. Usually that's all you need to set it to. To turn it on, you just push this button. And you'll notice here, I don't know if you can see in the light, but this LED right here flashes very brightly, and that means that it's not synced. And it'll run for about a minute, and then it'll sync to itself, but it keeps flashing a little bit. It will also sync to this device using this 1/8 inch to 1/8 inch cable, and you just plug it in here on the top, and then it will stop quickly flashing, and it will start flashing about once every second. And that will let you know that it's been jam synced to this device. Same type of crystal oscillator in this guy, very accurate and very stable. The outputs here, there are two. I don't know if you can see them. This is the time code out, and this runs to your cameras. And if you can set up a chain going from camera to camera, and then that will make sure that this time and those user bits are sent out to all the devices. And this is your word clock, and your word clock goes to your audio recorder. This is important because if you're doing things like the NTSC rates, the audio will drift if you record without an accurate word clock, because they actually manipulate the actual sample rate to get it to match up to what the frame rate is. And so if you notice, if you do something like a Zoom recorder and you get it into post, you'll notice that with certain frame rates it will stop matching after about a minute, so you get a drift. But if you record with this word clock, it'll absolutely stay synchronized, because like I said, it adjusts the sample rate subtly to get it to match up to the frame rate. So that's your word clock out. That goes to your audio recording device. This is your time code out, and that goes to your cameras. You can also have a XLR cable, which we have, and if you can go to something like a Tascam that has a LTC XLR input, you can jam sync that too. So when you get it back into post, your cameras all agree on the time, your slate shots all agree on the time, and the audio will be snapshotted with what they call broadcast wave information at the front. So it will also have both an accurate sample rate and a user bit at the front that basically says what the time of day is that that particular sample started at. So anyway, all of it will stay synchronized. It'll make your life much easier when you get into post, particularly with multi-camera shoots.